Hey everybody, welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh. You're muted, Garrett.
I'm Garrett.
There
And
you
I'm
are.
David.
Welcome to the show. Glitches and all.
You know,
Glitches,
we
human
don't hide the blemishes.
glitches.
That's what makes us who we are, friends.
Yes, it would take too much editing work if we hid them.
Yeah, we ain't got time for that. We got real lives to do.
Welcome to the show. We are, gosh, I want to say in between months on this particular episode we're talking about. Theme months, I mean.
Should we look?
Well, no, I'm pretty confident in that because if this comes out this week, we have one more movie in the Rob Reiner month rotation, which is Stand By Me, and then we're going into Oscars month, or Best Screenplay is what we're talking about, adapted and original, and we'll be kicking that off with Good Will Hunting. So excited for that.
I know.
Go subscribe.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. I was just going to tell people to go subscribe on YouTube or Spotify or Apple or wherever they get podcasts. You can go to somanysequels.com for that stuff.
I was just gonna say, we've had a really good start to this season, I feel like. Rob Reiner month has always been, I mean, every single movie was 3.5, 4 stars for us,
At
I think.
least, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were all very, very good.
And then now we're going into some high quality movies. We've got, Will Hunting. Have we said what we're doing for this?
We have not said the full list. No, we have not.
We got what? Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
12 Angry Men.
12
and
Angry
then
Men.
Do the Right Thing.
Yes.
All lined up for this one.
Yep.
And plus maybe whatever wins the Oscar.
Plus some Oscars talk. Yeah, the Oscars are in March, so we'll be talking about that. Lots of exciting stuff. Yeah. I was just about to plug the Oscars. Why would I do that?
They know. They're on YouTube.
They know. You know where they are. But let's catch up on what we've been watching and doing this week. I've been to the theater a couple times. I want to start off with I watched a old movie was put back in theaters this month, which is Ryan Coogler's Fruitvale Station. I hadn't seen it before. You guys seen this?
No, I hadn't seen Fruitvale Station.
Came out in 2013, I believe. It's Ryan Coogler's first movie directing. And it's really good. It's Michael B. Jordan in the starring role. It's based on a true story of a man who was shot and killed by police while he somewhere on the West Coast, I believe. I don't want to say the city and get it wrong. But anyway, the movie kind of details the last day in his life, kind of what he experienced and went through, and then what leads up to the shooting. So it's very good. It doesn't make it about what happened. It makes it about like the man, which I liked, but it's just about like the last 24 hours or so. It's not about like his whole life.
Fascinating. Who's in that?
Yeah. Michael B. Jordan is the lead role. His mother is played by Octavia Spencer. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that's a powerhouse couple right there. I mean, dang, 1-2 punch, right?
And this is this is Ryan's first film, Ryan Coogler's first film, right? Yeah. And so this would be right before he got really big, going into Black Panther, obviously, all the way up into Sinners this most recent year.
In a blink and you'll miss it role is Chad Michael Murray as one of the asshole cops.
Makes sense. That seems like a role he could fill.
Yeah. Really, really good movie. Really moving. Hard to watch at times, but Fruitvale Station. Yeah.
Any reason that it came back into theaters?
I think it's in theaters for Black History Month, to be honest with you.
Cool.
I think because they put in that and Sinners in February as like the $5 fan favorites, and I think it's part of a Ryan Coogler thing.
Nice.
Yeah. Very neat. And then Garrett and I went and watched a movie together. This was kind of not on my radar until maybe a week or two ago. I saw a trailer when I went to see Send Help, which we talked about last week. But yeah, you texted me and were like, what if we saw Psycho Killer? I was like, okay.
Yeah, I also didn't.
You say some stuff about this now.
I didn't really know much about it either, David. I don't know if you saw this, but they were doing some kind of cross promotion with WWE for a hot second, and the person dressed as Psycho Killer was in the audience, and that was the only thing that I had
Man,
seen.
That's smart.
did they miss a prime opportunity because former NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa, who was in WWE, his nickname is Psycho Killer. And then
Oh,
he
yeah.
left WWE like a month ago, apparently right before this promotion started.
Missed
That's too bad because
opportunity.
like on the indies, all they do is chant Psycho Killer at him because he looks like a maniac.
He does
Wow.
look like a maniac. Well, so did the guy
I
in the
had no
movie. I
idea.
mean, you don't really ever see his face. He's got long hair. He's wearing a gas mask whenever he's going into murder form.
Murder
Uh,
mood.
they do it. The things they do well include not showing who this person is and creating this mystery and kind of like, ooh, the kills are really brutal. And they get more and more increasing. I mean, there were several where like open mouth went, oh my god. And so those were good. And that's kind of where it stops. Josh, what did you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with what you have said there so far. Kills were fun to watch. Like, there's some really fun slow-mo stuff and like blood splatters. Uh where the weak stuff is really the dialogue, I thought. Like, there's some parts where I was stifling laughter and I don't think I was supposed to be laughing. One that really stuck with me, Garrett, was so the basic premise of this, David, is that a Kansas state trooper has witnessed her partner, like, and this is literally her partner, her work
Husband,
partner, and her
Mhm.
husband, because that makes sense to me. Be
right.
essentially executed on the highway during a traffic stop by this serial killer, who is traveling across the country on a satanic killing spree.
Okay.
It's a cool premise.
It's an interesting premise for a slasher, exactly. And so she has decided, because her husband has been killed, that she's going to she wants to get revenge, blah, blah, blah. She shows up at the FBI, which you can do, Stu.
You just knock
But
on their door.
but this FBI agent comes around the corner and he's like, we need to get Chicago on the phone, and then we need to talk to DC Stat, and we need to tell them that they're SOL if they're not DTF, and something like that.
Yeah.
And it cracked me up. It was so bad. The dialogue was so bad.
Dialogue wasn't great.
What year is it set in?
Gotta
It
be the
doesn't really give you a
mid-90s, or did
times.
it?
Mhm.
It felt mid-90s-y, but I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't really specify a time frame, so I appreciate that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And again, I like the idea of a cross-country serial killer doing something and somebody trying to track him down. There's really good ideas there, and they didn't really expand on anything.
Mhm.
We don't know much about the killer or why they're doing this, and that's always a problem because then it just feels like a hate thing, and
Yeah,
that's never good.
does it feel trashy?
I mean, I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know how to think
no,
about
I
that
don't think it
answer.
feels trashy because he's an equal opportunity killer. He's not like going after anybody. He's not like just like killing women across the country or anything like that.
Mhm.
That would make it feel a lot more icky, especially if they don't give a backstory, which they kind of do, but it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Like, it doesn't really make sense to
Yeah,
me.
his victims don't matter. It doesn't matter who they are.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
You
that
can't
So
also is
discriminate.
kind of a
it just
but
feels like it's been a long time since we've had just. I mean, would you would call it a slasher though?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
It's
just feels
100%
like a
just
long
me.
time since you had like a slasher, like a no thought slasher in like a
Yeah.
long time.
It certainly feels like it could be like a Jason situation, but, cult, underground, I think people will like it. Um,
Well,
but nobody really has been
I
on
was
its
I
side,
was say
so
the only thing I know about it. I am looking at the letterbox now, and I'm adding the poster to my dark room red posters
yeah.
list on letterbox. But it's got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, as
It's not
well as
yeah,
a 31% from audiences, and a 2.1 here on letterbox. So
yeah,
it's
it's not good.
I don't know if it's finding its audience. I hope it is,
Not good.
You'll have
but
to keep looking, but sometimes it takes a while.
yeah,
It
Yeah.
just came out. You never know.
you know
I'm not
they
in that audience, but
it's. I'll tell you what, though. Let me take a look at something real fast, because all it's got to do is make enough money for them to greenlight a sequel, and then all the next thing you know, you've got a series on your hand. That first Terrifier movie, I think, you could speak to how good it is, but it made money, and they were like, "Go make another one, make another one." Now he's a hit.
Yeah.
for
People
sure.
like art, but they're not
Um,
great.
so that's Psycho Killer. Go see it or don't. I don't know.
Maybe wait
Probably
for that
not. Maybe
your
wait for that one.
service soon.
But then what's the update in your book corner?
One of my goals was to bring books to the table whenever I
It
had a
was,
chance.
yeah.
I have been blazing through books because the easiest way for me to process and download those is to actually download and process those through audiobooks. And I'm not going to list everything, but I found a couple that I think are a lot of fun and that people might enjoy. If you're a murder mystery person, that's kind of my genre, so some of them are going to steer that way. One of them is called Listen for the Lie" by Amy Tinteria. I probably didn't say that name right. I apologize, but the name of the book is definitely "Listen for the Lie." And this one is about a woman who is accused but acquitted of killing her best friend when they were younger. She leaves town, obviously, because people are like, "Hey, yeah, we don't trust you." Then she has to come back years later for her grandma's birthday and deal with the town and all of the past. Well, she has no memory of the night, and so she has no idea what happened to her best friend. And so this book looks at that story while is also being investigated by an actual true crime podcast. And
Ooh.
so it does kind of like what Serial did with the Adnan situation, where things, it was a cold case that they started investigating. And then as they catch up to the story with the podcast in real time, real things in that reality's real time starts happening. I don't know how it reads, but listening to it as an audiobook was a lot of fun because it gave me that same sense of kind of like, oh my goodness, I can't wait for the next episode. I can't wait for the next chapter, because they would get to a certain part where you're listening to the main character tell her story. And then it dun 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 dun, it audio tunes into the podcast episode and it makes it feel different. It was just a really cool way to do an audiobook. And they took that into consideration, and it was well produced. It was really interesting, and it was a lot of fun.
Very neat.
Interesting. I definitely want to
Um,
check that out. I just started today reading Project Hail Mary, finally. I'm
Yes,
excited about
yes.
that.
I'm a
The
big
Andy
fan of
Weir book.
reading movie books.
Yes, I'm
Well,
hoping
movie.
to read it before I watch it. Somebody had told me that the trailer ruins a big part of the book, so every time the trailer comes on, I because I'm trying to read it, and I hate hearing that a trailer ruins something. So, if you also have any interest, I have heard that. So
Okay.
be
I've
wary of the
heard that, but
trailer.
I've also heard from some people that they're like, "No, that's not that big of a reveal."
Oh well,
So
okay,
it just kind of
interesting.
depends on which kind of,
Which
I
core
guess,
of the
you know,
internet you're on?
there's different kinds of readers who are like,
That
"No,
is
it's."
true. Some people are very, I don't know. I don't know. They just don't. They don't
Some
want.
people are also more protective of details than others, you know?
That's true. But I started that, and I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I'm probably 2 or 3 chapters in. Not far, but
Nice.
reading is good.
The
Mhm.
other one that I had a chance, and I'll go through this one a little quicker, but I think both of you will like this, and I think our audience will like it. It's called "I'm Starting to Worry About This Black Box of Doom"
Oh,
by
okay.
Jason Hergen, I think. I don't
Mhm.
know if I said that name right either. But Josh, you had mentioned you'd read another book by him. It was Somebody Dies in the End. John Tucker Dies in the End or something like that.
Yeah, John dies at the end.
Yeah. So, writer of that book, if you're familiar. And this one is a really strong satire of kind of just the culture that we
Yeah.
live in. Couple of people are taking a cross country road trip. They're not murdering anybody and wearing gas masks, to my knowledge. There's no actual crossover there, but they've got a box, and people are like, "What is this?" And then the internet gets involved and blows it all out of proportion, as it does. And so it's a
Oh
really
no.
fun look. It's got some really fun pop culture references and things in there. So I think that you guys would like it for sure. And I think that some of our audience would also like it. And I would recommend it. Probably one of the better ones I read this year.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna add both of those to
Mhm.
my list. All right, let's talk about trailers. We got some new
Let's do it.
trailers for blockbusters coming up this year. These are not. This is not something to deep dive on, but hey, they're fun. Um, they are sequels. I think you could call the second one a sequel of sorts.
Sequel of
based
sorts,
on a
yeah.
TV show.
Yeah, that's a good name for a show. Sequel of sorts.
Sequel of sorts is the spinoff that we'll come up with later down the line. First, let's talk about this Toy Story 5 movie because this podcast has been on Toy Story for a long time. We covered the full series. We covered Toy Story 4 when it came out. And I'm sure we will cover Toy Story 5 when it comes out, too.
I don't know. Honestly, why not?
And this trailer just dropped. We were all very hesitant when they were going to make a Toy Story 4.
Yeah, and have to go back and listen to our first thoughts.
I think I think our fears were validated.
I think so. And then
well, Josh's prediction for the year, don't know if you remember this.
I did. Yeah, you remember my prediction?
I do.
Think it was that let me make sure I got it right. I think it was that we were all going to like Toy Story 5 no matter what, right?
Yeah, it was something
more
like
specific
we were
than that?
we were going to flip, you guys were going to flip on Toy Story 5.
Yeah, I believe that.
I can't remember. I'll have to go back and get my wording right. But yeah, not sure what to think of it because, they already did the big send-off of 3. And then in Toy Story 4, they did the big send-off of Woody where he kind of leaves the crew. And now here we are back with Toy Story 5. This brand new full trailer has come out, and it's about the invasion of the technology. The iPad, LilyPad, has been brought to Bonnie's room. What do you guys think about this premise? We know a little bit more now. We see how Woody is back in a way.
Yeah.
That was... Oh, go ahead, David.
Oh, I mean, look, I have been a long-time defender of Toy Story 4. People can tell me that Toy Story 3 was a perfect ending and you didn't need Toy Story 4 until they blew in the face. And I agree Toy Story 3 is great. I agree that Toy Story 4 wasn't necessarily a needed movie. But I think it's a fantastic movie. I think it's really good. I think that people, if you watch that movie and if you think about a time in your life in which something you loved stopped loving you back, you might put yourself in a position to maybe understand it slightly. But it is so it's a fantastic movie. And I always had high anticipation that Toy Story 5 was going to be good because this is Pixar's flagship story, if you will. Like, this is their main thing. They put all their chips into Toy Story movies. And I think it's going to be good. People were like, how is Woody back? How is Woody back? And I was like, guys, they're going to explain it. Like, you think he's just going to just show up and he's just going to randomly still be in the thing, even though they were like, he left at the end of the last one. How could he possibly be back? And I'm like, they'll explain it. Trust me. It's a movie. Josh is muted, so I didn't get him yelling. But anyway.
That's a shame. I said the toys are alive.
They're alive. He will, and they explain. And honestly, justification's as good as any. I like his poncho. Woody has a poncho that's made out of a bandana. Love that. That's something that they probably thought of, and they were like, "Why didn't we think of this before?"
Yeah, he looks good.
And look, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be emotional. It looks like this story is probably slightly more centered on Jessie as a character, which I think that's a good direction to go to, is to kind of center her for this particular story. And then you also just look at like how far animation has come even since Toy Story 4. Like, things it just looks great. There's a slight glimpse at the beginning where we see them do a little bit of, for lack of a better word, I'm going to say, into the Spider-Versing a little bit, where there's kind of a slightly different visual animation style that's Bonnie's imagination that I think is a really neat look. And you're going to see more of that with Gato, their new film coming out in 2027, I think. Anyway, I'm really high on it. I'm really excited. Toy Story is a series that I never want them to make another one of, but I'm always pleased with.
The potential of Toy Story 5 being good doesn't take away from Toy Story 4 not being good. They're not connected. Because I agree, this does look good. Doesn't change my opinion on Toy Story 5.
Well, I say rewatch. I say watch it again.
He says watch.
I say give it a second try.
I'll just jump into 5. They'll
do it.
I'm curious how much time has passed between then and there, because that will also be a very interesting story. They answered my question. I like the idea, actually, the way that they presented in the trailer, story of 2 older toys going off and trying to find an abandoned toys. And the gist of bringing them back is the idea of the toys being abandoned that he loves. That concern there, that that creates that. So that would justify some of this stuff in 4. Again, doesn't change away. It's like oh my God, what's that second Avengers movie that everybody hates, but it kind of pieces everything together?
Age of Ultron.
Age of
Thank you.
Ultron.
It's going to be the Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
For the Toy Story franchise. And I think that it's going to be able to set up some stuff. And this one's for sure going to make you cry. Like, I can already tell that they are lining up to just really unleash the tears in this one. So bring it on.
Yeah, because here's the sad thing, and I think this has been said before already. Like, a realistic version of this movie, the iPad has to win, because it just will. I think, sadly. But I want this movie to have them all kill the iPad in a very gruesome way. Violent, like, think of what almost happened to those toys. They put those toys through the incinerator nearly in episode 3. I'm going to call them episodes.
Yeah, episode 3.
So you can't put the iPad through the... How about that thing on TikTok that smashes stuff? Put it through there.
Oh yeah, put it in the hydraulic press.
Yeah.
No, they strapped Lotso to the front of a 18-wheeler. So
I hope that iPad goes flying out the car window or something.
They stuck Stinky Pete in the back of a Barbie bag. So there's no unknown. What's hell for an iPad, for a living iPad? What would their version of hell be? That's how we have to think about it.
I don't know.
They gotta run on modem or like AOL modem speed.
I think you just get markered on too. Like, I think if you just marker all over an iPad, just completely ruin its value.
I'm going way too deep. I'm thinking way too hard about the Toy Story world now, because now I'm like, in Toy Story 2 and 3, like, I don't remember one in episode. I went back to episodes. I don't remember this in episode 1, but they treat video games. Video games are not treated as like enemy toys. They're all
no,
because there's a whole Zerg video game. That they play.
Now I will. They like playing those. I will recommend to anyone who's listening to this podcast, and you guys as well, if you still have Disney Plus, check out
listen to this podcast.
Check out Pixar's The Time That Toy Story Forgot. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Which is a short that they made. It's like, I don't know, it's maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, where Bonnie takes some of her toys over to her cousin's house after Christmas, and he's got all these cool new dino toys that are going through episode 1 Buzz Lightyear syndrome. And but he's more obsessed with his new video game and VR set and things like that. So he's playing that, and like his toys are neglected. So I think it's a very good preview to what we're going to get here, even though that's more video games, and this is going to be sort of, just basic, onboarding of what we're all stuck on, these little screens now. Like, it's sad because, Bonnie, she looks to be maybe 8 years old, maybe 9. I think she was like 6 in the last one. So she's maybe 8 or 9, and her friends are already all on these pads. And you can see in one clip of the trailer, she comes up to play with her toys, like she's excited to play, and they're all on these pads now. And there's that feeling of like, oh no, this is what we're doing now. You're not one of us if you don't have your thing, so we can swap our pictures and do our cool games and stuff like that. And that's a very real mentality for kids, is when all of a sudden the trend moves out and you got to get a Game Boy, or you got to get a, this or that, or we're not going to come over and play at your house anymore because you don't have one of those things. So
that's why I don't come over to your house anymore, David.
Well, that and the incident.
We don't talk about the incident. Yeah. Can never talk about that again.
We can't.
But anyway,
what about
Toy
you guys?
Story.
Are you excited?
I'm excited, I think, as far as, I could be. It looks fun. It looks like it could, release the waterworks of sorts in some ways. So,
look, I'm
excited to see Conan. That's what I'm excited to see.
I'm excited for Conan too. I'm expecting something on par with Inside Out 2. That's what Inside Out 2 handled its, sequel and that conversation about anxiety in a way that, like you said, Josh, the iPad in real life would probably win. And in real life, anxiety, unfortunately, does cripple a lot of people more. But that movie had like a resolution that was like, oh, yes, tears. This is how, we should recover. Toy Story 5 probably be a similar scenario.
I really need there to be a part where Woody's just like arguing with Italian brain rot or something. That's what I want.
Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised.
He's stuck in the Roblox
Do we
world.
think a 6 or a 7 will make an appearance in this movie?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
probably one or
maybe.
the other. I don't know about together.
Is that gonna be the new Key and Peele? Who's
Depends
gonna
on
be
when they've
67, The Flight of the Conchords?
depends on when they've finished this production specifically.
There's always time to sneak it in. Anyway, that's Toy Story 5, comes out this June. Check it out if you want to. Next up on the list is another big Disney movie. It's Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu. And my main question here is, and this is, I think, I don't know if I mean this for you guys specifically or just for your thoughts on the world. Do enough people still care about Star Wars right now for this movie to even be here?
I think
don't
enough
think
people
so.
care about Grogu to make it a lot of money. Um, I don't think that The Mandalorian itself anymore has the kind of excitement that it had
Yeah.
because season 3 was really bad. But I do think that the idea of Grogu is gonna get kids and kind of general Star Wars fans out to see it.
I
It
I
might.
I think that
I mean, yeah.
I think that it will do well enough. It'll do it, people's like Star Wars merch. That
Exactly.
will do well. Grogu toys, dark sabers. They could start selling a Nerf. I think they already do, but they could sell a new version of the Nerf gun based on the Mandalorian's weapons or something like that. You know what I mean? They'll get toys out of this. And there's that. Like, I was a big Mandalorian fan when the show started. I was very
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah, I love the Mandalorian show.
Season 1 and
Mhm.
It's
season
just been a
2
while.
were really solid.
Yeah.
And then season
And
3
season
happened.
3 was, I honestly,
Not
very
that good.
forgettable ultimately. Like, I
Very.
barely remember most of season 3. They got
I
really into
dipped
this.
out after episode 3. I think I said, "This isn't fun anymore. I
Yeah.
am not gonna watch this."
No, and it got really dense, I feel like, with the whole Mandalore and Bo-Katan and all that, and, like, as much as that stuff can be cool, and I'm not trying to knock people who are big Clone Wars fans or whatever, but it made the show feel like, I don't know, just too dense for me. I was like, some of this is cool, but like I really miss what felt like the promise of the show originally was something that was a little bit episodic, a little bit like, gunmen moving from town to town, righting wrongs, righting what once went wrong, type thing. And he has a little baby Yoda, little Grogu with him, is like a little, Star Wars cutesy factor. But
Yeah.
but here we are, the movie. Like, the biggest problem I have with the movie, just watching the 2.5 trailers that we've been given, is that it looks the same quality as the Disney Plus show, and the Disney
It
Plus
was.
show, and the Disney Plus show is probably too good of quality for a streaming thing. And then you show me that that's what the movie's gonna look like. It's like, well, it doesn't look any better. Like, it looks like it's Disney Plus quality now, because that's what
I
you've conditioned me with Disney Plus.
I don't know this to be a fact, but my assumption is this was supposed to be a season 4 that nobody wanted, and they cut it into a movie because they thought that might do better. I have no
Yeah.
reason to believe that's true. That's just a thought.
I mean, it's as good an assumption as anything. It's possible they wanted to do like, hey, let's build this into a movie. Maybe we'll do a crossover with a bunch of these other series like Ahsoka and uh, whatever else they
I
got going
almost
on.
think
And here we are.
this is kind of a let me paint a picture here. And I could also be way off base, but this is what
Tell me what's
I'm
up, Bob Brooks.
I'm almost thinking of this in the way of and please people don't come at me for saying that this is of the same quality or anything like that. But I am wondering if the transition for DC from the Snyderverse into this James Gunn verse,
Mhm.
right? There were a handful of movies that were decent, even that just kind of got lost in the shuffle of the in between. And I
Mhm.
almost wonder if this is going to be one of those things because it's
Right.
part of it, the old guard.
Right.
Disney has a new president coming in, and so does Lucasfilm. With Dave Filoni taking over for Kathleen Kennedy,
Yeah.
he's going to be the James Gunn ish of this
Yeah. Well, I
new
mean,
Star
this is
Wars,
this is his baby, though.
right?
Like,
But
yeah.
Grogu?
it is his
Specifically,
baby, but he
this is his
didn't. It's
thing. Yeah.
not his project. It's a Kathleen Kennedy thing still. Like
I mean,
it's
it's his
he ain't
project.
in
It's like
charge of it.
he's more or less the showrunner with Jon Favreau on this show. So I mean, if anything, I would expect more things to be like this than Andor or whatever else. So I don't know. I mean, Star Wars needs a reinvention. I also think it just needs a really long pause. This is, I mean, like, as somebody who has been legitimately a fan of honestly every trilogy, like I like obviously I like the original trilogy. I have criticisms of the prequel trilogy, but I still love them. I like the sequel trilogy, with the exception of the last one in that series. This is the most down I think I've been on Star Wars my whole life. Is this last like 4 or 5 years, and I don't really know why.
It's not been good.
It just feels like it feels like a lot of the mystery's gone.
You wanna know my hot take? And listen, the internet's gonna hate me for this. They course corrected so much after The Last Jedi that they are just
Yeah.
now like, they gave up any kind of idea to be creative, and now the fans just kind of run everything, and that's really just
Exactly. It's
even they're
that.
upset about it all, so, like, they lost everything.
It's that. It's so, I feel like overmined at this point, because there's there's animated series, there's cartoons, there's films where like, hey, we're taking the war part of this really seriously, and there's series where we're taking the spy and espionage this really serious. Then there's like, hey, this is the Mandalorian, and it's kind of goofy sometimes and kind of a western. It's kind of a, like, it's just all over the place, and it's oversaturated, and I don't know. It's just like, when
The funny
people
thing to
when
me
people
is
complain
that
about the MCU, like, that's where I am with Star Wars. Like, it's just too much to keep track of, and I'm just not interested in every single character that they have.
yeah, there's still a lot more MCU than Star Wars. I wish they'd tone it down a little bit further.
Just
Yeah,
really
but I feel like that's hit the crescendo of where it can go. But
Yeah.
Star Wars feels like it has more than it really can sustain. Like, it just, like, with the MCU, it's like, well, you've got 70 years worth of comic books that you can mine from. And Star Wars, you have 3 original movies, and you're trying to extrapolate ideas from those 3 movies.
And see, that is where I would stop them, and then we'll move on from this and say, stop trying to extrapolate shit and just write a goddamn new story. Have you ever considered that? Have you ever considered that?
And that's kind of that's what the Mandalorian was. That's why it was exciting. Is like, hey, kind of a new idea in this
No, the only
universe.
piece of Star Wars media I'm actually looking forward to is this Starfighter movie with Ryan Gosling because of how
Yeah.
different it feels. It's
Yeah.
new. It's
I
different.
haven't
It's
haven't
Sean
seen it,
Levy.
but I have heard that, Andor is incredible and
I was
doesn't
going to bring that up. Even non-Star Wars people say that Andor is one of the greatest TV shows of the last 5 years, and nobody watched it. Watched it.
Well, a lot
watch
of
it.
people watched it. It's just,
Yeah, a lot of people, like 7 people. We can't pretend that show is popular, David. It wasn't.
It is popular. It's the only thing that ever gets
With
brought
the
up
6
nowadays.
people who watched it.
Yeah,
It was nominated for like best drama at the Emmys.
Yeah, and it gets free. I mean, that's the other. So I don't want to go on too much longer about this, but that is the divide right now in the Star Wars fandom. Is you have Andor people who really, now they used to be, people were really into Dave Filoni, because Dave Filoni did Clone Wars, and Dave Filoni was like, George Lucas's pick to be like the heir apparent and all that, right? Well, now there are anti-Filonis within the Star Wars fandom who are like, no, Andor is the way they should go. It should be a hard, like, war is war. Like, almost like anti-Jedi group of the fandom now. That's like, we don't want Jedis. The Jedis make it feel fake. We want like a space war series that's hypercritical of, maybe our real world. And then you have people who are still like, no, I kind of want Jedis and bounty hunters and cute animals and weird aliens. Like, there's that half of it. And like, right now, I don't think they know which way to go with it.
One day, very soon, perhaps in the next week or two, I'm going to introduce this group to Star Trek, to what's going on in the Star Trek world right now. Because I've been watching Starfleet Academy, which I think is a great show.
But you have similar issues there.
Similar issues in the Star blank communities.
Who would have thought that a couple of geriatric franchises from the 60s and 70s would have so much trouble lasting to the 2020s?
I just want to end on this gross note that is going to make everybody groan. But the anti-Filonis, is that what his name is?
That's what
Filoni?
I call them.
Just say,
yeah. Are they going to be Filoni Balonis?
Yes, Dave Baloney. That's what I'm going to call him now. Whenever I don't like him. When I like him, he can just be Dave, I guess.
We'll see, though. I will see the movie, so, I mean, it's
I'll see it because I do movies and I like Star Wars, so I'll decide if it's good or bad.
Yes, I will reserve final judgment till I've seen it, but I'm
Frankly,
not
everybody
excited.
told me Solo was bad, and I still think it was
I thought
okay.
Solo was dope.
It was a good, very fun movie.
Yeah.
Losers. Anyway.
We made the internet all angry.
I know. By doing what? Liking certain things and not others, that's all. What's the weekend box office been like, David?
Yeah, let's roll through it real fast. Steph Curry's GOAT, #1 this weekend after debuting at #2 with $17 million in week 2.
Greatest of all week.
Heard a lot of good things. People are jamming with GOAT.
I'm glad they liked the GOAT movie.
Wuthering Heights sinks to #2 in its second weekend with $14.2 million. I Can Only Imagine 2, sequel to I Can Only Imagine, as you might imagine, comes in with #3. I know, what could you make a sequel? They had that one hit song. They didn't have another big one.
I can't even imagine what that is a sequel to.
Oh, you don't know the song I Can Only Imagine? You remember that?
I can only imagine. I don't understand they didn't write another song though, so what the hell?
It's just a continuation of their lives. The band.
This is why so many sequels exist. It shouldn't. That was the only interesting thing they did.
First one is a decently solid faith-based movie. Not big on those. Those usually kind of suck, but that one was actually pretty decent. Anyhow,
fair enough.
$8 million for that in its opening weekend. Crime 101 drops to #4 with 5.7, and Send Help still hanging in the top 5 in its fourth weekend with 4.5 million. The opening next week, we have Scream 7, so that's your big, honestly, that's pretty much it. That's the only big open for the last weekend of February.
Awesome. Exciting. All right. We are, like I said, kicking off Best Screenplay Month, Best Writing Month here at So Many Sequels. So be sure you subscribe to the show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get podcasts. You can find more information at somanysequels.com. We'll be kicking things off with Good Will Hunting. So yeah, check it out, somanysequels.com. We got all kinds of great movies coming up. I was going to say great, like written. I don't know. They're well written. Shut up. I'm talking to myself there, I think.
Best screen.
I was just going to go great.
Great.
Yeah,
go check it out.